Hello, everybody. Amy and I are going to be going live in just a few moments. I'm going to try to stream here from my platform, and also we're going to be streaming from Amy's, so we will take comments from both sections. But please hang tight, and I will be back shortly. Amy and I will be going live. I'm going to be streaming here, and we will also be streaming on Amy's platform, so please let me know if audio is okay with you. I'm going to try to mute it on my laptop because her and I are going to be using my phone to go live together. I hope you all had a wonderful week, and please stand by, chat with each other, and we'll be back shortly. Welcome in, you guys. Rob, thank you for dropping in, even if you're not able to stay long. I am just waiting for Amy. She doesn't see me. Okay, stand by. I need to go back out for a second. Yeah, well, I need to share this with, I need to copy the link and share it with her because I think I sent her the wrong one. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. I am sending it to her.
Hey y'all, it's Money Long here, and I'm gonna spill my songwriting secrets.
Out into our fire. If heaven had wings out to you, then I'd fly away with you for a while. Hearing the essence of gratitude. Your dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day.
I never have everyone very wonderful Friday. We are getting very close to hitting 7K subscribers over on ParaWomen Radio YouTube. So if we could just start that algorithm dance party that I like to do, just start warming up your fingers and dancing right up to the hearts and thumbs up button, helps us go out into the algorithm, party out there and bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me out. And it's really, really appreciated. And I would love to be at 7K by Sunday. That would just make my day. So if you're over on YouTube, if you could subscribe, that would be wonderful. Today, we're coming to you on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So hi to everyone on those platforms. Just give us some likes and thumbs and hearts and subscribe on whatever platform you're coming to us on. And did I tell you that we are working with Jenn from Crafted Evidence again? So let's bring Jenn on up and say hello.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday.
My screen is off. Hold on one second.
That's
let
okay.
Let me get you onto the
There
screen.
You are. Everyone, happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you too. Did you have a good day today?
I did. I actually tried something different today, and we took the kids to the arcade, and that was super fun. We've never done that before.
Ooh, I love arcades.
Yeah, it was cool. They're not very common anymore, right? Because everyone games at home now. But there's something about being in person, that's cool.
One of my favorite things at the arcade is the skeet ball. That's my favorite.
Yes, I played that 5 times tonight.
Yeah, that's addictive. And then the whack-a-moles are fun too.
Oh man, it was great. Did some air hockey as well. How was your week? What were you up to?
I don't know. I'm just like vacation spot. So I don't know. I've just been real quiet this week. Just getting back on track, like it's wrong about the world, but I know it's not. And so I'm just getting back into place again.
And I think a lot of our subscribers can relate to that. And we've talked about this, that, Amy and I hope to do some autoimmune disease type lives and meditations so that all of the folks on here who are joining for that reason, we all want to connect and kind of help support each other.
We do. And so tonight, like I said, we do have.
Jamie's on edge. It's her first time changing her own oil, but she went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helps her find a deal on what she needs to get the job done right.
In the zone, AutoZone. Ooh, new diet?
Yep. Wait. What?
I'm your heart valve. That won't help with heart valve disease. Try asking your doctor to screen you for it. Undetected, it can be deadly.
Deadly. I'm going now.
Wake up, speak up.
Jenn, but no, we have another special guest joining us. And Jenn's going to do a little intro because I know she's been doing the pre-interview this week with our guest. So,
yes, I'm just chatting with her now. We're having okay, so she says she's backstage. So, guys, there has been a lot of talk about these books by Dylan Tolman, and I think what brought this back up to light was the News Nation interview where they said there were these new love letters released. See the books and the letters, and they weren't available. So people were asking, where are the books? What's going on? So you and I started talking, and we started digging to figure out what the heck happened, because people were speculating that Chris and Chris's family had the books removed. Well, we found out that's not the case.
did you want to say who the special guest is, or
Is she ready for us? Is she
I
back?
I do see her back there.
Okay,
Something's wrong though with I think there's something wrong with the stream. Hold on one second.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I just don't want to intro her.
When
unless
I
she's
went
ready to
live
go.
today,
You're not supposed to drink water,
hold on.
plastic water bottles because of BPA's.
When I went live, I think it said it was only recording the audio. No, I think it's okay.
Okay, because she is just also, you guys, going to appear by audio with us. She's not going to do video.
Maybe that's what popped up really quick. 'Cause
Yes.
something popped up really quick when I went live, and I was like, "Oh shoot, is it saying that we're only recording audio?" But I think it was telling me that she's going to be only audio,
Yes.
which I can see that. So, okay. So all right. So is she ready?
Yeah.
Are
I
we
think
doing an
she's ready.
intro? Are you going to say who
Backstage.
she is, and then I will pull her
So,
up?
Yeah, this, you guys, joining us, we wanted to clarify what's going on, and we thought there's no better way to do that than talk to the person who helped edit and publish this book, Jamie, who met Dylan and helped him put this book together. And we're talking about the book Cell Next Door by Dylan Tolman. And this is not his only book. He's written a couple different books, but we all are eager to know what's going on with this one because of Watts Island, of course. So we want to bring Jamie in. If you guys have questions for her, we're more than happy to take them from the chat. But we also have, some questions for Jamie as well.
So this is the book that she's talking about that Dylan Tolman wrote. Dylan Tolman is the cellmate that lived next door to Chris Watts for how many years was it? Was it 3 years, 4 years, something like that?
I thought it was only a couple months, but
it was only a couple months. Oh, I thought it was years. Okay,
well,
so
Jamie will tell us. She'll know.
Yeah, Jamie will tell us. So he lived next door, and they co-authored a book. And if you remember, Alex Erickson is another content creator that had both Jamie and Dillman. I'm just making up names. Had him on her channel when the books were released. So welcome to ParaWomen Radio, Jamie. Hi, Jamie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are great.
See you again.
We're excited to have you on, Jamie. I know it's been a while since you've done one of these interviews, but kind of the new piece of this is that the book is no longer available. And you taught me something new today, and I would hope you could help kind of clarify this as well. I always thought Chris helped co-author this book,
And that's not the case, right?
No, he had nothing to do with this series.
Okay.
40-day devotional with supposed permission from Chris and from Ronnie and Cindy. And then we went ahead and published that book. We wound up getting emails from Amazon. Well, I did because I handled everything. That an authorized representative wanted the book pulled down. And Dylan then decided he was going to go into true crime and basically go this route since the other book was pulled.
Okay. Can you tell us about the process of what it kind of takes to put a book like this together, especially with someone who's behind bars? He's not sitting behind a laptop.
It was extremely difficult and on my end quite costly because of phone calls back and forth. What would basically happen is Dylan would write his written pages, mail them out to me, then I had to edit them, type them, cover design, and then get them published from there.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, this is more than just, sitting down and writing a book. Like, there's a lot of work that went into that.
Oh, a lot. I mean, and a lot of headaches and, time spent away from my children and just, it was a lot.
Yeah. But now you kind of have this expertise on how to get a book out there, which is really cool. I think a lot of us and some of the people who joined us tonight are like, I'm really interested in getting my book published. Like, how would I do that? And I said, well, maybe we can ask Jamie's for some tips on that. So
yeah, I can't see any of the comments coming in to even respond to them. So this is my first time.
We'll kind of relay for you.
Okay.
Anna Jank is in chat. Hi, Jana, and hi to everybody in the outer regions. So can we maybe take it back to the beginning? And could you tell me what made you interested in writing a book about Chris Watts?
Oh, I didn't write it.
Well, you helped co-op. You helped. What brought you into wanting to be a part of the process to help publish and edit a book about Chris Watts?
Well, the best answer I have for that is Dylan had a book out before this called Mind of a PhD, Heart of a Dope Dealer. Someone had sent me a chapter or so of that book. And that got me in touch with him. And that book was not good. It needed a lot of editing. It needed a lot of work. So he asked me to help him. And I said, sure. And I helped him. And then it led into the God's Plan Book of Books, which started with the 40-day devotional. And then I just really wanted to help him succeed. I wanted to, as a good human being, help someone.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it.
And so the 40-day devotional,
yes.
Can we talk about that a little bit? Because that is, I think and I'm glad we're having you on because it's the other book. He was going to team with Dylan for the 40-day devotional. Can you tell us what that was going to be about?
I have a hard copy of it. I believe there were 9, possibly 10 sold before it was pulled. It was basically
pulled as well.
One who was an authorized representative for CW. That's what the email said that Chris did not give his permission. So that was that would have been last May of 2024 that all that happened.
Now, did Dylan get this in writing from Chris? Because I feel like that may have been the first step of him doing this process would be getting in writing with Chris.
There was communication between Ronnie and Dylan's mom.
Okay.
With Ronnie saying, Chris gives the go ahead for this. Ronnie was supposed to get something in writing from Chris and send it to Dylan's mom. That never happened.
Okay. So yes. that makes a little more sense. And then then that's where I think this rumor comes out that
the Watts family wanted the book pulled when we're talking about The Cell Next Door, but that was just something kind of Dylan did on his own time, right?
Correct.
Okay. And
Oh, okay. So Dylan was the one that pulled The Cell Next Door.
No, ma'am.
oh, he didn't pull it. Yeah.
Who pulled it?
I did.
And the reason behind that, Jamie, I do want you to be able to have that opportunity to explain why it was pulled.
Okay. Do you want the short version or the long version?
Long, please.
Long.
Okay. Dylan and I had an agreement that once the books got going, we would either work out a percentage or a flat fee for my work that I put in.
Right, for the editing and on the outside getting it published. And I know there's a lot of work that goes.
The copyrights to the covers are in my name.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of work that goes into this. So that is what he was paying you for, was to kind of do the handiwork on getting this book out.
I'm going to need to go back. That was what he was supposed to pay me for.
Okay.
The money was coming into his Cash App. First, it was coming into mine, and then I would just transfer it over to his. Keep in mind, he was in Columbia Correctional at the time, in a max security prison. We spoke often, and as money came in, he was spending it as quick as it came in. And when things kind of went south with the way he was spending his money, he told me, he goes, go ahead and take the next 2 months of royalties so I can get you paid. Well, he got himself in some hot water and needed the money. I was very sick at the time, like literally in bed. And he called, needed the money. So I just sent all the money to his mom and I said, look, I am out. When he was released on December 13th of 2024, we were still in contact and speaking. And I told him, hey, you need to pay for what I did. And he said, all right, give me time to get the money together. I'll get it done. He still was not making that happen when he had the money and the opportunity to make that happen. So I gave him a deadline and I said, look, if it's not done by this time, I'm going to go ahead and unpublish the books because I'm not working for free. He finally said to me, I can't come up with the money. Go ahead and unpublish the books. So I did. And then after I did that, he said, oh, I didn't mean it. I just said it because I was mad. And basically, that's how my life. And that's the story.
Yeah, and I want to clarify something too for those the people on here. I reached out to Jamie. I want people to know that. Jamie did not reach out to me wanting to share her story. Amy and I were talking about this after doing our last live stream. And, we looked on Amazon and we observed, hey, you can't get these books anymore. And we started digging and came across Amy.
No, what you said was we were on a live or we were talking and you asked me if I would reach out to Jamie for you because you wanted to talk to her. So, but then
I think she popped up in our chat that day too.
She happened to pop up that very day, and I was like, "Oh, hey!"
Yeah, that was totally by accident.
Yeah,
I saw it and let me pop in because Amy, you and I have emailed before.
Yeah,
and I definitely wasn't seeking out anyone. I live a quiet, normal life, and I just want to kind of forget he exists. I know that sounds rude, but I tried to help him, and I just feel like he couldn't be helped.
It's hard I think, to make deals with people when it has to do with money, because you don't know how well a book or a movie is going to do. And once, something blows up, it's, I've seen a lot of relationships, friendships families torn apart by working together on projects. And that is unfortunate. I also tried to reach out to Dylan, but he is unavailable to speak with us. I felt there was no need to kind of bring that in the involvement. Really, the answer we wanted was, did Chris Watts try to pull this book? And that's why I feel you're kind of helpful in answering that question for us. And I think you know even a little more than Dylan, because you're the one who was getting the emails, right?
Correct.
I also feel like we all have those people in our those people that we're just, one in our rear view mirror. And he even said in the interview that he's institutionalized, and
Very much so.
who he is. And so I'm sure Dylan has his problems because he's never been taught how to manage his emotions. And we don't wish any ill will towards Dylan or anything like that. We just are very interested because he was Dylan's the cell next door, and he did write a book, and you helped him with the book. And so we're not here to we're not drama driven or anything like that. We're not here to get the dirt. We're just here to report on the Watts case, because that's what we do.
I honestly wish Dylan and his girlfriend the best. I hope everything works out for them over there, away from me. That's, I have moved on in many ways. I'm not saying this to bring drama, but his current girlfriend wants to keep drama going, and that's not who I am. That's not what I want. Just, my time of helping Dylan is done. There is no way for him and I to repair any type of friendship. And I just, kind of wanted to speak my side of it and make that part clear about what happened with the books.
And I thank you for that, because you did, when we were chatting in the pre-interview, you really weren't sure whether you wanted to do this. And you're like, this is my past. I'm done. I've moved on. And I was like, I know, but you can really help clarify things. And I think there was a lot of misinformation out there as well.
Very true. Very, very true.
I'm looking in my chat, and people want to clarify, how long did Dylan stay with Chris on, what was it, Unit 11?
Yes, approximately 7 months.
Okay, so it wasn't a year.
No, it was approximately 7 months.
Okay. And they, from what I've seen, and we were talking, Jamie, about, there was a gal who was on, I want to say it's Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil, but her name was Christina.
Krista Riccello.
Okay. So she had a relationship with Dylan. This Letters for You. And then the two of them started talking. And I think when you're in prison, you probably just will talk to anyone.
Correct. And I actually have the original letter that Krista sent to Chris.
Really?
I do.
I'd love to see that if you're willing to share.
I would love to show it to you off of this platform.
Sure. And so Christina and Dylan started.
Krista.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dylan got to a point where he was like, you know what? You're talking about him too much. I don't think you're in it for me. And then they parted ways.
Actually, that's, that story's up to interpretation, because for apparent fame, going on Armchair Detective and things of that nature, it ended badly with the two of them.
Okay. Because I remember her saying she was a criminal psychologist.
Sorry.
Okay. I haven't looked her background up, but I remember her being on TV, and she actually told this shocking story about her mother having some obsession with Charles Manson.
Yes.
Yeah, and so she said she kind of came from a background of people who write prisoners, fall in love with prisoners. And I thought, what a bizarre story, but also, all I know is from what she said in that interview, you guys, and I cannot remember if it was Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil.
Dr. Oz.
Okay. And she kind of just talked about that. And from what I thought, the relationship ended because Dylan eventually thought, you're just using me to get to Chris. Did Dylan experience that a lot?
No.
Okay. I was curious once he started writing the books, if people were kind of reaching out to him to try to get to Chris, or if he felt that that was kind of happening to him.
When he wrote the books, he was no
Going to be writing these books?
No, he did not.
Oh, wow.
Okay. How did he do that without being scared of legal repercussions? Or did he just wing it?
He just didn't care, I guess.
Okay. That's something interesting, you know, that
I mean, technically though, there's so many books about the Watts case, and I'm sure none of them have direct permission from Chris.
right.
So
Spending time together working on the devotional. And
yes.
then Dylan was kind of taking all of this intel. And I have to think Chris probably, if he knows about the book, which I'm sure he does, probably feels a little stabbed in the back by Dylan.
I would think so.
Did you ever have any conversation with Chris?
No.
Oh, not at all.
Just Ronnie and Cindy.
Okay. Did Dylan try to kind of keep you at all away from Chris and just more focused on, you know, his book and the things he's working on?
No.
Okay. Because I was curious if
it wasn't something that really came up.
Okay.
You just never asked to speak with them, or you never had to speak with them, or I mean,
well, they were very separated at the time. Chris is still in Dodge, and Dylan was in Marathon County Jail, which is where he is now. That's public record, so I can say that.
Yeah.
So that there was no need at that point.
Okay. That is really just like interesting, you know, and especially since Chris did agree to do that 40-day devotional and then to kind of change his mind.
Well, he agreed to the.
I first discovered my love for music in the womb. My mother was a singer. My biological father sang. It was just sort of always there. I saw a few artists in concert and I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And no one ever told me that I couldn't. Superpowers is the first song of my album. In a world that is so negative, it is a superpower to maintain your light and to walk in brightness.
And speeding and action.
Right here.
Let's clean that. Let's clean that.
Part of it, and there was a couple other ones. Dylan wound up doing turning the 40-day devotional into the 20-day devotional to get Chris's work out of it. And then he did the one called Poetic Knowledge, which was another part of the book series that he and Chris worked on. Chris's stuff was never published.
Okay.
The whole thing together was around 500 pages, which, let me tell you, takes a long time to print out multiple 500-page books. So I'll just say that.
You had to do the legwork on that part too.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Wow.
What did you have conversation with the Watts about? What did you need to talk to them about? And if you don't want to answer my questions, you can say, I just don't want to answer that.
Feel free to say
well,
you can
briefly,
say that.
It was, the short version was about the 40-day devotional coming out and getting a letter from Chris for permission. Most of it centered around that. And it was a 3-way call with Dylan, myself, and Ronnie.
And
How did you find the Watts to be? Were they friendly or in your?
yeah, that was my next question.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Mhm.
Ronnie was Cindy is soft spoken and quiet. Ronnie is more talkative, but not a bad vibe from either one of them. No.
And Ronnie recently, I saw this was interesting after Chris was arrested, he got baptized himself. So I can see where Ronnie probably really wanted to kind of take part in maybe doing this book with everyone.
That would be my guess, but I really don't know exactly what happened. I don't know who this representative of CW was who had contacted Amazon to get that book pulled. I don't know.
So ultimately, Amazon's the one that pulled it.
Yes, but it was pulled because Amazon was contacted by a third-party representative.
That's interesting. So I'd
Yes.
have to think it's legit, not just.
In the video that Dylan and I did with Alex Erickson, she pops the emails up on the screen.
Oh yeah, that's right.
From the authorized representative.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well,
I watched that video today, but I don't know where in the live she does that. So.
And we intend to have her on with us, but she's on her spring break right now. So
yes, I actually talked to her today. She is wonderful.
Okay. Yeah, Jamie, we do want to have you on again, but we had a lot of people eager for this live, and we're like, well, we don't want to keep them waiting forever, but I'm sure there's going to be more questions that come up, and hopefully you'd be willing, to answer those.
I will answer pretty much anything. I mean, of course, personal things. I'm not going to talk about.
Sure. And we don't blame you.
Yeah.
I have someone asking just a little bit about advice on how to process.
Anyone can publish a book. You basically set up an Amazon KDP account, which I did. You go and find whichever site you want to use to make your cover. You put your file in, you load everything. It's a step-by-step process, but your thing.
Do you have to pre-print copies, or is it order to print?
Order to print, and then you get a percentage of the sale price.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people
Did you know about the Watts case before you met Dylan?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And did you follow it while it was happening, or is this?
I did, yes.
Did. What did you think about it when it was happening?
It's hard to say because I feel like my opinions have changed over time. But I really thought, in the beginning that Shanann just took the kids and left. Yeah. But then, of course, over time, things change, and I still don't know where I stand on a lot of it. And getting information from different sources and things like that definitely clouds exactly what I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the best answer I have for that.
How did you feel about when I was re-listening to the interviews? In one of the newspaper articles, Dylan had said that Chris was, innocent, and how did you feel about when Dylan was?
Well, are you speaking about the interview most recently that was with Steve Helling? Or the interview back and say, Chris didn't do everything they accused him of? So
I think I'm talking about the one where, I guess, because I do remember now there was another one where he said that, he said that Chris was innocent. That's the one I'm talking about. But now I do remember the one where he said that Chris didn't do to the girls, but he did it to Shanann. But how
Yes.
did you feel when he tried to like minimize Chris? Because Chris is
I feel about that.
When you knew Dylan and you were talking to him, I know you're not currently talking to him, but
Heck no.
At that time, what was Dylan's thoughts on Nicole Kessinger? Because that is where a lot of the true crime community is fixated on.
Dylan's stance on that was that he says that he was told by Chris that Chris killed Shanann, and then I want to say Nicole took care of the girls and Shanann's body. That's what it says in the books. That's what he claims Chris told him. That's what Dylan believes.
When I was doing my research over on Reddit, I found this Reddit that this person put up via Facebook recently. They had spoken to Dylan. He voice noted me, and I checked against interviews with him on YouTube. Stupidly, in regards providing evidence of any conversation, I deleted it all for fear my husband might see and go bonkers that I had chatted to a convicted felon. Did anyone else chat to him? He told me some pretty interesting things. I'm not saying 100% I believe what he said. However, he sounded quite genuine, and it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility to imagine that CW did in fact tell Dylan the info he passed on to me. Anyone else speak to him? And then she goes on to say, he told me that CW had told him that the kids weren't unalived by his hand, but Shanann was. Told him that Cece was still up when Shanann got home, and that Shanann medicated her to get her to sleep, and she could confront CW about the meal at the lake, what to do, so called NK, and thus she was involved. He didn't mention what happened to Bella, and I didn't want to ask as I was trying to tease it out of him. He was since stopped coming online, but I know he's currently in a rehab facility. Did Dylan tell you these things?
In some version, but not that exact version. I know the Reddit post you're talking about. But his version did change a little bit, supposedly. I don't know why his version changed, but it was different.
Well, I also have to think his opinion started a change of Chris too. Like, you know, when you get to know someone and you like them, it's almost like you want to believe them.
No, God, I know.
Even though they're telling you bullshit and you know it's bullshit.
Yep.
That's true.
I always wonder, you know, like Amy and I talk about this a lot. It's like, if Nicole really had something to do with it, Chris, like, why wouldn't you just come out? And then now it feels like he is trying to come out, but I would feel he would come out of the gate stronger with a little more evidence. But
I feel like Dylan's, this is just my opinion, so let me state that ahead of time. I feel like Dylan's books may have a little more validity if he hadn't written them almost in revenge for what happened with the 40-day devotional.
Okay, that makes sense. Because he was kind of upset that the plan they had fell apart.
Yes, he was very upset. And I feel like I want to say I know Dylan very well. I know the version of Dylan that Dylan showed me.
Sure.
So I am in no position whatsoever to speak for him because I don't know him. I never did, apparently, and I definitely don't know him now. But he does a lot of things out of how this book series started. So now looking back, you know, hindsight. I see more red flags that I should have seen in the beginning.
Yeah. Has anyone else reached out to you after seeing you kind of help Dylan do this?
As far as on YouTube or things like
Or
that?
just anyone who kind of like wants to get a book out there but doesn't know how to do it.
No one reached out in that aspect, but I had how she could get like a large quantity of the 2 religious books for some work she was doing. And she had reached out to Dylan, but it apparently didn't go well because he just kind of wanted to focus on me unpublishing the books and made it personal about me and didn't really stand behind his godly word that he was attempting to spread in the books. So the girl contacted me and was like, hey, is there anything you can do? I'll buy the files from you. And I was like, I can't sell the files. That's just unethical. That's not who I am. And she understood, and she and I have become good friends. But as far as anyone else really reaching out to ask the questions you're asking, no.
Why would she want the book even after the experience she had with Dylan? I don't understand that.
She wanted the books first.
Yeah, I know, but why did she continue to keep wanting the book after having a bad experience with Dylan? Why wouldn't she have just moved on to a different book?
She asked him about the books, and I believe he told her that she needed to talk to me because they were unpublished. So she went back to him and said, hey, she's not really talking much. She doesn't, she's not going to sell me files. Is there any way you can print them and I'll buy them? And that's kind of where he took off on her. So
and
she shut it down.
Product that's complete and finished too.
Yes. So she kind of shut down talking to him.
Someone was a jerk to me, I wouldn't want to.
And then that's going to give away her occupation, but let's say in the medical field. And so she attempted to help Dylan with some, issues he was having. And she was nicer than I would have been. I'll just say that. And then she had to give up and say, hey, sorry, I'm going to go elsewhere for material for my churches.
Yeah.
But yeah, no one else has really asked what happened to the books.
I think you're right, Connie. Connie in chat says, I believe we will never know the whole truth. Every now and then something else comes out. CW wants us to keep going, so he stays alive longer. If we lose interest, CW won't be protected as well. Yeah, I think I've heard some of the other prisoners say things like they will make Chris keep his case alive because they're milking him and they're making him, they're like, he's got a lot of money, and so in order to stay protected or stay alive, they're making him pay them, and he's got to keep the money coming in somehow. I have heard that.
Yeah, like he has to there's almost like a code, I guess, in prison that's not what it's like out here on the outside too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it also varies from a maximum security to a minimum, medium. There's, a lot of differences. I can say that the Wisconsin DOC is not a place you want to end up.
Okay.
I mean, not that you want to end up in any facility like that, right, but a lot goes on in the Wisconsin prisons that's overlooked. And I'm sure you guys have heard about everything at Waupun with people dying and everything like that. It's things that they should not be getting away with in the maxes. It's a whole...
I came to interview him. He said he liked it better than Colorado. I have to think that they are keeping Chris very safe because they want to avoid a lawsuit if something should happen to him because he's government property right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people strew that whole thing. You know, people are saying like, oh, I hope they beat him up in jail, and I'm like, or prison. Like, they're not going to, because the county wants to make sure he's safe, you know, because it looks bad if he's not.
I mean, technically, should look bad if anyone is not safe or anyone
Right.
is doing illegal things.
And like you're saying, you've heard cases of people dying in this same prison.
Oh, not in Dodge, but Waupun,
Okay.
which is just about a mile and a half from Dodge.
How did Dylan feel about when this news story broke about them finding lube and his boxers in his cell? How did Dylan feel about that?
Oh, he was quite embarrassed, and I'll use the word irate. Dylan was there. Dylan was actually in Dodge on a PO hold. So since he was there for that, he technically wasn't a prisoner, yet he was in prison. So he couldn't order commissary. He couldn't order from Union Supply or Jail Marcus. He couldn't do anything. So the story was, you know, of course, I mean, I have the original conduct report from the ticket they got for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the media spun it, okay, lube and boxers. It was lube, boxers, coffee. Yeah, all the things. So depending on which outlet you read from is how bad it sounds.
Right.
Oh, it sounded bad. It sounded real bad. Because I even asked an ex-prison guard about it, and this is what he had to say.
Do you think he's having a relationship with a prisoner, or do you think he literally just loaned things to people?
There is something that tells me he's probably having a relationship with another inmate.
Yeah, because you don't just loan things like that, do you?
No. Underwear is a valuable commodity in prison, unless somebody's going to tell me otherwise. At least from everything I saw, and that's awfully sketchy. That would warrant investigation for sure. There's probably something going on there, and I think I think Mr. Watts, based on what I've seen, and obviously it's only my opinion, but is a very sexually conflicted individual.
Yeah, so we were all speculating on that because I do believe myself, and because I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I do think that Chris Watts is a bisexual individual. So it did sound weird.
You do think that?
Oh, I do.
I kind of think the opposite, and I'll tell you where my opinion comes is, just like you said, Jamie, I pulled the incident report, the conduct report myself.
And I don't necessarily, I think it happened with Dylan, but I do think Chris Watts is back. I'm not that he's in there for the rest of his life. He will be definitely gay for this day. So
I was going to use that term, but I didn't want to.
No,
I'll say what others won't.
Oh, then I'll speak more freely then if you want me to. But
oh yeah,
do it, Jamie. Yeah,
I don't know if you want me to do that. I actually said that very term to a friend of mine just in the past couple days, the gay for the state thing, and she got quite the laugh about it. I mean, I truly believe that. I mean, of course, not for everyone, but I mean, hey, do what you do. You know, but you can get in a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah, you can.
And that'll get you sent to the hole or whatever else could happen. And, you know, but people take their chances.
I mean, if you're in there for the rest of your life, I mean,
I too, where like you're saying with Dylan's incident, I think they took bits and pieces of that report, and one of the biggest people to do that was Daily Mail. They want to sensationalize things as much as possible. So I mean, I kind of in a way felt bad for Dylan when I saw that article, because also, inmates have to write their name on their underwear, I heard, after purchasing. So I'm assuming Watts put his name on there and then gave it to Dylan. But this is a question, actually, Amy, I have for you. So if you think that about Chris, do you think the people who came forward, the gentleman who said he met Chris on an app, do you think?
I mean, I don't know somebody that knows the guy, but I know somebody that knows the Amanda woman that came forward. Oh, yeah. Yes. And the Amanda woman, interestingly enough, probably worked with Nicole Atkinson because she was in the hair field. So I think that there are connections there that we're just not quite aware of. And yeah, I think he was doing stuff on apps. I think he was. I don't think Chris is as innocent as he wants us to think. And I think also I've said this a lot, one of the big things that he does what he does because he doesn't want Ronnie to know about his bisexuality, because I don't believe that it's acceptable in that family. But this is just all my opinion, allegedly for entertainment research purposes only. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff. So I'm just saying that I just have a sneaky suspicion that Chris doesn't want his dad to know his true self. And so he keeps a lot of stuff hidden because of his dad.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought to it too, especially since these guys started coming out. I guess I see it more as like what you said. Now that he's there, he's stuck with what he's got, and then I can see it. But I have a hard time, I don't know, I guess seeing it beforehand, because I just don't get those signals, those vibes. But that doesn't mean, there was also speculation that maybe Nicole invited a third party into the mix.
Well, I mean, and she was preparing for the back door. That doesn't work, so.
And then you do have the friend Jim, who has been sad.
Hey, leave Jim alone.
Leave Jim alone. But I don't know Jim, but I have heard through other sources that Jim is gay.
Yeah.
And that, Nicole was best friends with him, and I assume that maybe they all hung out together. I don't know. I can't answer that. But it makes me wonder, we go back to that Chris Watts and the dark things. Is this one of the dark things Chris is talking about? Being gay, being bisexual.
I think it is one of his secrets, but I mean, I think Chris has more secrets than we know.
Well, he said he'll take it to the grave.
Yeah. But then again, is his secrets just so lame that, like what you said, that Nicole was doing yoga or something like that? Because I can also see him being that lame. So I just don't know.
I don't want your thoughts on this. In our last live, we were talking about, and maybe Dylan got a piece of this too. And I'm sure maybe they talked about it because they were having these religious conversations, but we kind of want to know what Chris's idea of dark things are. It doesn't necessarily mean someone's dark. It doesn't mean they're doing spells and magic. It just means they're open to a different type of healing process. Did Dylan mention anything about that in regards to Kessinger that you remember?
He did not, no.
Okay. But have you seen kind of some of the stuff that Chris said about dark things?
Yes.
Did Dylan, if anybody were to ever talk about like crystals or anything like that, was Dylan super religious? I just can't. Dylan doesn't strike me. Well, maybe it was jailhouse religion. I don't know. He just doesn't.
Was Dylan super religious? Is that your question?
Yeah, I guess that's my question.
Okay. In my opinion, and you notice I'm saying a lot of stuff and starting with in my opinion.
Well, yeah, this is all in your opinion. So
okay, Dylan was religious when he felt he could profit from it.
I
Okay.
think Chris is the same way. I think Chris is religious because he thinks that it's going to make people think better of him and that he can profit from it.
In the 40-day devotional, plus Chris's other writings that have never been made public, his writings and his interpretation of certain scriptures and everything is extremely well written and extremely, I don't want to use researched, but Chris is a very good writer, in my opinion. The things I read, they were very telling of how he felt about certain things. He used a lot of, I statements. So maybe Chris did become religious. In my opinion, Dylan did it for profit. Dylan does not walk a path that would show any relationship with God to me, only when it's convenient. That's what I saw of Dylan.
Grainger knows that if your alignment power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional grade products and next day delivery. Everything for the ones who get it done.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was honestly shocked when I was typing out his part of the book. It really drew me in and I enjoyed it.
And this is not just him regurgitating scripture. This is his own original ideas?
Correct.
Okay.
Wow.
That's interesting because I will say I kind of thought it was ironic that he picked up the Bible immediately after going to Colorado, and I thought maybe he was using that as a shield. But also, I wonder if I'm giving Chris the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to, I try, Jamie, to be kind to everyone, even though what he did is absolutely inexcusable. But I wonder if
no, not to Chris Watts.
What?
Not me. Chris Watts is like, when I'm having a bad day, I talk about Chris Watts. I put my ire into Chris Watts. He did too much. He did too much for me to be kind. I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm trying to be kind in the sense of I'm trying to get into his brain and understand him. And so
I don't really look at it as being kind. I look at it as more of being open-minded, and I'm so much of a realist that when these guys get to Dodge is an intake prison. Okay. You can't have anything. You know what you can have? A Bible.
A Bible, yeah.
So
do you think
how are you going to pass the time? You're going to read that Bible.
I used to go in and do counseling for some inmates. It's called Jailhouse Religion. Yeah,
Yes.
it's the first thing that they pick up because they get a Bible. Sometimes that's all they get, seep in, and then they have the outside people that come in, and it's usually the Christian people that come in, and so those are the people they get to interact, and they get to leave their cell. And so yeah, I can totally understand. I would probably do it too, just to get out or just to read if I needed something to read, so I get it.
So I mean, I guess that's how it started, but if you're not going to continue to walk that path, let it go.
Yeah.
And that's just, again, my opinion.
Well, where I was like, I was thinking with that, and I guess yeah, you know what I mean, Larry. I'm not trying to be kind to him. I think I'm trying to get in his mind. And I'm wondering if Chris really does in his mind think he was possessed by a demon. And is that why he rushed so quickly to the Bible? Because it scared the shit out of him and he wanted to be saved. I
don't believe that, no.
Okay. So it was kind of what Amy's saying. He was bored out of his mind and
I would
Bible.
I would go that direction before I would go the other one. But once again, my opinion.
I think he uses it. I think he used it as a way to control his family. I mean, I could see when his father got baptized, his whole family was so proud of that fact, and they were like, only you could do this. And, what they did was something so beautiful, but I was so pissed off at Chris Watts because he did it he's using his religion as a control factor to make people think that he's a nice guy. And also his family is like doing these things for him, but I don't think he believes in it at all. I don't, I going towards a higher power isn't a bad thing. So it is something good that happened for Ronnie, at least. So
Oh, I don't believe it's a bad thing at all. I just believe you shouldn't try and profit from it. I'm going to leave it at that.
yeah,
Like if you're going to write these books,
walk the walk, don't just talk the talk.
Yeah, like the woman who was reaching out about those books.
Yes.
If you were really doing it out of the kindness of your heart to be a part of something bigger, you would have done it for free.
Correct. Or maybe even just asked for, the price of the printing.
Yeah.
Or something, but it was for profit. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want to make money, right?
Sure. Gotta eat. You gotta eat.
And you also got to do some unsavory things with money. But once again, I can't speak as freely as I'd like to right now.
Yeah. Amy, I want to ask you, when you worked with these prisoners, what kind of crimes did they do? What kind of things did they talk to you about?
Well, I was working at a substance abuse facility, and I was going in and doing intakes for the prisoners that were going to go through our treatment facility. So I always enjoyed being the intake worker because I could get the information, write the case, and then move it along and not really. I mean, I enjoy interviewing people and getting people's stories. So they would tell me everything that needed to be told, I guess, or that they were willing to tell me.
Did you get to
they would get in on an intake?
Yeah. Did you get to see anyone kind of like transition from being at their worst and then like
situation? It was like a kind of a revolving door. I did do a few where we were doing video calls of the prisoners that were coming out of the Jackson prison, but I wasn't going to be their worker. Again, I was the intake worker. So, no. When you're the intake worker, you do the intake and then you move it along. You don't become their worker. But I was working for my CAC, and I did take one of them, and it wasn't a good story. So.
I have a question for maybe you, Amy. It's slightly off topic, but not totally. So you've worked in a prison setting before?
I worked at a sub, and I would do intakes with the prisoners.
Okay, I was just kind of curious if you knew how like the social worker aspect in a prison works.
Well, I am a social worker. My BA is in social psych, but I wasn't the social worker in the prison. So,
okay.
What aspect of the social work are you asking? Like, what do you mean?
Oh, just like, I know the social workers in prisons are supposed to help facilitate release back into the community and things like that. And I was just wondering if you had any experience with how that process works.
Yes, that was one of the things that I would do with the video conferences. I would come in on when they were going to be released. And because I was working at the facility, I would do the intake to help them get their treatment plans going.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, interesting.
So you didn't have to really I was about to ask you, Amy, if you were ever scared. So you didn't have to actually be like physically in the room with them?
Yes, I had to be at the jail. I was physically scared.
Amy, when you were doing that, was like, and this is my own total curiosity, is there a camera in there recording audio and video to make sure you're safe during that process?
It was a small town. I do believe there was, but I'm not totally sure. And I will say this too, that it was early 2000s, just before cameras were starting to like be used like all the time. You know, like it was
Oh, okay.
now it would be like a common normal thing, but I do believe there was. Because
Total random question that popped in my head.
I do remember like looking up into the like I think I would have to do something like this when I was ready to leave.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. I'm going to have to wrap this up here shortly because I have to have dinner and everything.
Okay. Well, why don't we just wrap it up with you and say bye. Let's go over into chat real quick and see if we have any questions for you before you
Sure,
go.
I'll hang out for that. Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Veronica says he became.
I have one.
Is Cindy religious?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
I kind of got the vibe they all were. But maybe
I kind of got the vibe they weren't, and that Chris helped them do that.
I have is that facility that Dylan and Chris were in, is it like a no touch facility where you as a guest would come? Is it just phone calls behind a glass, or can you?
No, they have contact visits there for immediate family only when you are there before you go to your home prison. If that becomes your home prison, your visitors list can be expanded.
Okay. I myself has requested from this prison any phone calls he's made. Well,
you
come to
won't.
find out they don't record them there.
Yeah, you won't, because Wisconsin doesn't release phone calls, so you're not going to get any.
Compared to, our Wade Wilson guy.
Yeah.
We listened to those, but I bet that made Dylan feel a little more comfortable on the phone, probably, knowing those calls weren't getting released.
I never talked to Dylan when he was in Dodge with Chris. Of course, I talked to him when he went through Dodge this last August. I honestly, I don't know if the Wisconsin DOC even really cares enough to listen to their recorded calls. I feel if they did.
No matter how you travel, it's good to have a plan. Some people plan every minute. No sleep, bus, museum, another museum, while others only plan to take it day by day. When it comes to your finances, a plan is just as important. You can count on Credit Karma to give you the insights you need to understand your options, so you can take charge of your financial path and find your way to money. Intuit Credit Karma. Karma you can count on. Download the app today.
Privately about things like, my intent in doing this is not to bash Dylan, to cause him any harm. It's just, so you guys have the information of why the books were pulled. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have. But if you guys have more questions, you know how to reach me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our chat thanks you too, Jamie, for kind of clarifying all of this misinformation that's been out there.
Not a problem. If anyone has any questions and they watch later, I'll see if I can answer them. Or
great.
All right. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a great night.
Thanks, Jamie. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was Jamie, one of Dylan Talman's. It was Dylan Talman's publisher of the book. We were able to get the information why the book is no longer in print. It's interesting, huh?
Yeah. I think about it and I'm like, I kind of almost suspected that it's hard to do deals with people on books or movies because it sounds like they had an agreement and then falling out, which is expected. And I feel like, man, that's really unfortunate, but that's why they say, don't do business with family or friends.
Right.
But she seems to know a lot about the process of it too.
Yeah. I mean, that was really nice that she did all that. And she must have a desire to do those type of things. Hopefully she'll do more, maybe do her own.
She could, right? And she really clarified a lot out there that like I thought I knew. I thought that Dylan got permission from Chris to write The Cell Next Door.
So did I.
I'm just gonna be honest, like I am shocked that Dylan has not been sued by Chris Watts and his family for it. So it makes me wonder, did Dylan get something in writing? You're famous for something, and I want to write a book on you. The first thing I'm doing is getting your signature.
Right?
Right? Like that is the first thing I'm doing. Then the second thing I'm doing is saying, I've got Amy's signature and I want to write a book. How do we do this the right way?
Right. Maybe he does have it. I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish Dylan had like agreed.
Yeah, he's in a situation right now where he cannot talk, and talking with his girlfriend, I just felt like it wasn't
No, I get it.
necessary. You know, like if we're gonna talk, I want to talk to Dylan.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to Jamie is because Dylan
She did the book with him.
Yeah, like he's not going to deny that she did legwork on this book because they went together on Alex's podcast and promoted the book. So,
Yeah, and I mean, Jamie did the interview, and watching the Red X Files, Chris Watts clips are mind blowing. See yourself. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it said something else at first. So I feel like they did it together. So of course we'd want to speak to Jamie about it if we can't talk to Dylan about it. And but the new girlfriend, really, I don't see. She didn't write the books, so
yeah. And
or,
you know,
yeah,
nice of her to let me know, you know, she wanted to arrange it, and I let her know the way that they wanted to arrange talking to each other is not the way I personally do things. Passenger.
I know they're very interested in Cassinger and talking about Nate's video. We're going to be doing more on the gate in the video because I'm very interested in that now. And was she who like I never saw the ponytail before, and I never noticed the change of shoes before too. It's so interesting to me how you can watch a video over and over again, and then all of a sudden there's something new that you didn't notice.
I feel like I noticed that for the first time while we were live.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I have to go back and look at that police interview. And I was like thinking she would be wearing something else. And I'm like, oh my God, the shoes are white. But it sucks because she walks so fast, you can't see it more than just a second. But it makes you wonder, did the cops see the video of the white shoes and think like, hey, maybe we'll do a side by side? I don't know. I feel like we have to do like a
comparison, for sure, and maybe we can find somebody a body analysis or something. I'm just trying to make sure that we covered everything that I had.
And I'm running through our chat.
So what do you guys think about this whole Dylan thing? I forgot to ask her if Dylan was planning on seeing Chris when he went back to Dodge, if she knew.
I believe she said he is going to be going there. However, I'm going to tell you, if I were Chris Watts, I probably wouldn't be very happy with Dylan the moment I see him. If he wrote a book about me, dishing all the secrets told. But I don't know book because I know things.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
I think Chris is a loser, so I think that he will he's a loser within prison, so not many like him. So I think if Dylan's willing to talk to him again, I think Chris will talk to him.
In my chat, a lot of people were asking about writing a book, about have answered questions like that. My best advice for you is to talk to an attorney. I think anytime you write something, guys, or make something, you have to think of like, could I get sued for this? Or am I just expressing, my, right to free speech? Am I accusing someone of something that they didn't actually do? So I would, if I were someone who wrote a book on a crime, I would have, obviously an editor look it over, and then I would have an attorney also look it over to make sure
for sure
I'm gonna get sued. So I think that's kind of the best advice on that.
I have a few friends that are authors. If you guys are interested in that, I could bring one on and they could tell you how to write a book. I've interviewed a lot of authors for
Olga says I would get sued. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, you want it. Your biggest thing is you want to make sure you don't get sued. It would be interesting to see if there is some type of legal thing going on with Dylan and Chris in the future, but
yeah, that would be interesting. And it would be in friends and just kind of getting his opinion on those type of things. Yeah. I'm just interested in the Watts case. I'm not really interested in relationship drama between Dylan and his girlfriends. I'm just really not. I want to know about the Chris Watts case. So.
Right. Girlfriend, we're more than, you know what? I am just going to be honest. I'm going to say it. I was told that they want compensation. I explained to them I am a former journalist. That's not how I do things. Like that's something in the movie. That is not real. I've never heard of people doing interviews for money unless it's like Dr. Phil or something huge where they have advertising dollars to pay for that. And I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be a case about a book. It's going to be a huge story like Chris telling his chat with us. He is more than welcome to, but I'm not paying for an interview. Like I know some people don't know how this works, but I do my stuff the way I used to do journalism. I don't know if there's other YouTubers out there paying for interviews.
I think there might be.
You think so? Because
yeah,
I was kind of taken aback when she said that to me.
Yeah, I think there might be. I think they might like do something nice for or yeah, I think there might be, but I mean, or they might pay for some pictures, or I've heard I've heard of them offer to pay for pictures and stuff like that. So, but I can't afford, I don't do that. I can't afford it. I don't have the money. I'm just a small YouTube channel. So.
Well, and also like, we're not,
you know who else charges to appear? Joe Exotic, said if I wanted him on my show, I could pay him $100. I was like, no.
Amy, I didn't want to tell something private we talked about, but yeah, I mean, like Joe, you know where Joe got that idea from though?
Where?
Netflix pays.
Oh.
They paid Shanann's family to do the documentary. They paid for her laptop and little artifacts to do the story. And maybe that's where people misunderstand payments for interviews. And yes, Joe Exotic probably wanted his, can you tell us how much it was? Because that part kind of cracks me up.
$100. He wanted $100. $100. He said to go towards his legal fee.
I want to go look at what he charges for cameos, which maybe he doesn't even do cameos anymore. You know that app where you have a celebrity like send you a message?
Oh yeah.
I bet you his cameo is 100. So it made me laugh when you told me that, because it was like, why would he think that? And then it clicked in my head, oh, he did Netflix and he used to do cameos for people's like, that's not how I do things. It's not. I've never paid for an interview in my life and I never will. I don't even think Chris would pay. Like, he didn't pay, or he didn't ask Sherilyn Cadle for money for his interview, right? So, like, why would
And I don't think Alex paid him, so I don't know why. Anyway.
Yeah. And you know what? I will say this. I don't even know if that was coming from Dylan. It was coming from the girlfriend. So
there's that too.
So if he wants, I'd love for Dylan to share his story. I think he also has a lot to share about some of the mental health challenges he's had. And I am interested to know how that's handled in a prison system.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't imagine Dylan's had an easy life.
No.
So,
you're welcome, Olga.
So my chat's talking more about NK and Jim, and we promise we will do more on the NK and all of that. Did you have anything else for tonight that you wanted to talk about?
No. Are you going to tease our Joe Exotic? No, I'm kidding.
And now I came up with $100 and we have Joe Exotic.
Actually, you know what, you guys, if we all want to pitch in to Amy, you got Cash App or what do you got? I'm serious. If you guys want Joe Exotic, we'll do it.
Yes, I've got him connected over on my Instagram. He actually he did message me over on Instagram, and I know he's paralegal, so. Well, I know a few people, as soon as I start making more money on my channel, I will be able to bring you more stuff, but I literally cannot. When I have to decide if I'm going to pay rent or eat or get Joe Exotic on, I'm going to pay rent and eat. I'm just am. So as soon as I'm out of this financial slump, doubtful, but yeah. I mean, I would pay $100 to Joe Exotic before I would pay $100 to somebody that was in a cell next door to Chris Watts. I mean, it just, yeah.
I have to think that people watch too much TV and they get this idea that like every interview on the news they're paying for or something, and that's just not how it works. It's an opportunity to give people a platform to share their story, and in hopes to help other people or warn other people about something that happened to them.
Right. So guys, be sure to head over to hold on a second. Why is I don't know. My board is really bad today, and my lights blew just before I went live, so I don't have any of my good lights, and so I'm having some technical problems tonight. But let me pull up your.
And I asked Amy if she wanted to like share any LinkedIn or website, and she said she didn't have anything. So no way to direct you, but it sounds like she's going to go to your chat in your show notes and see if anyone has questions for her. And she's pretty good at jumping in there and answering them.
I don't have your page up. I'm sorry. And I'm not.
You're fine. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, because, okay. So be sure to go head over to Jenn at, oh, you're not even up here now. Hold on a second. Okay, be sure to head over to Jenn at Crafted Evidence. Once I get this into a video, I will pop something up really nice and pretty for you. But yeah, head over to Jenn. She does a lot of cool stuff. And also she's over on Facebook, and she actually does crafts, where I saw you had a Mother's Day craft that you're
the crafties. And you mentioned, Amy, what are you at subscriber wise right now? 6
or what?
8. So any of my subs who are not following Amy, please go over there. Like she said, if we can get her to 7K by Sunday, we could have a little party.
Oh yeah, I would really love to hit 7K by yeah. So here's your page that I was trying to find. This is her over on Facebook, and she has this, but I don't have the cutting board. She did this really cute cutting board, this laser cutting board, but you can actually just have her laser whatever you want on the cutting board. Or like here's an Easter one. Is that up on the screen?
It's up
Yeah, there it is. Okay,
closer to
good.
the top. Yeah.
So like she can laser whatever you want on a cutting board or something like that. You could be like Happy Mother's Day, or she had this really cute thing, or I don't know why I'm saying it like you're not here. You had this really cute thing, like you had this really cute thing where you had I think it was cups or
I had
how many
poster. I did like so many different things. It's like
no, but it had like measurements on the so that you what was
yeah,
it?
it's towards the like start of the page. It's kind of like conversions for like if you're in the kitchen, you forget, you know, like how many cups is equals, you know, like teaspoons or like that kind of thing. So yeah, I do a little bit of that. And then I'm also hoping to start doing some engraving and making like keychains. Oh, actually, is that what you scrolled by, Amy? Was it okay? Things like that.
Yes, these are going to go out to my dragonflies. Something special for the dragonflies over on my YouTube channel. And also you did these patches too that are super cute.
Yeah, those are for you to put on a hat. But you could put it on like any kind of fabric. And you know, you can put on a shirt, ParaWomen Radio, which will be
and we're coming up on the home stretch, getting really close to being able to get some merch out, and I'm shooting for Mother's Day so that if you wanted to get yourself something for Mother's Day or something for Mother's Day, we'll have some merch out. But this is the channel. This is my channel. We're close to hitting 7K. So I would really love for you to subscribe and be sure to head over to Jenn's YouTube or Facebook and YouTube channel and follow her over there. I will put the links to all of this in our YouTube show notes.
Veronica's asking our next live. We were
planning something for Monday, weren't we?
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
But I have something
too. We could come up with something too for Monday.
Yeah. Or tomorrow too. I want to do something. For me, I have something Sunday with Shannon. We do our paranormal on Sunday. So for sure Sunday for us. And I do want to do something tomorrow. So maybe we can hook up something tomorrow. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, everyone have a great night.
And there's Amy's Cash App. If you want to, we'll get it.
Yes. My Cash App is wait.
Coffee too.
Yeah, thank you, Charlotte.
Thanks. She's ready for it.
Charlotte wants Joe Exotic. Thank you. Thank you so much. Your support means everything. It cracks me up because it's Joe Exotic. Okay, Jenn, it was so good to see you today. Jamie, yes, have a great night, Jamie. Thank you for being here. I hope you'll join us again. I think that it would be a good show to talk about publishing, and we could even get one of my author friends and bring